want to have strong relationships with our kids, but with recent research showing that fathers spend an average of 8 minutes a day individually with their children, how can dads find the time to guide their sons from adolescence to manhood?
The Pathways Foundation aims to give fathers and their sons the time, skill and motivation to strengthen their relationship, develop resilience and to avoid the pitfalls so common to boys with detached fathers. Pathways leader Dr. Arna Rubenstein joins us with some of his foundation's graduates, Rick Wallace and his son Sachi.
Good morning to you all.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Arna, can I just start with you? What should the father-son relationship ultimately be?
We would hope that it's as good as possible, and in the long run we would like that fathers and sons have a friendship, that the sons know that they can talk to their fathers, that they can approach their fathers, and what we're looking for is a shift from when the son is young and it's I'm the dad and you're the boy and this is how it's going to be, to as they grow older it develops to one of respect and mutual relationship.
And that would...
I reckon that's the number one thing, isn't it?
Yes, and that would naturally occur at a certain age, wouldn't it? Well, or does it?
We believe that the big shift point is around about the time when the boy is 13, 14. And that's why we run our programs and we take boys with their fathers away for a week. We ask the fathers to leave behind their mobile phones and their watches and anything related to work, and we take them out in the bush for a week and put them in a tent together, and the boys have an opportunity to hear their father's stories, to be challenged and also very much to be honoured and acknowledged by their fathers for their individual gifts and talents that they each have.
All right, now Rick, I understand you were a rather unwilling participant at first. How did you come to take part in the program?
Well, Sachi's mum kind of encouraged me, well, a little more than encouraged me to go and do it. But having done it now, I think it was absolutely worthwhile. It was really a brilliant program.
How was your relationship beforehand?
Well, my relationship with Sachi has been sporadic because Sachi's mum and I are divorced and have been for 12 years.
Yeah. Long time.
A long while, yeah. And of course Sachi's only 14, so it's a big chunk of his life. So we didn't really have we had an on and off relationship sort of thing, and I think it really helped us get closer together.
What did you do? Well, Sachi, you tell us. What happened on the program?
We did the challenge, which I'm not going to tell you because that would ruin it for the people who do it.
Oh, good. All right. Well, you can tell us the sorts of general things you did then.
Oh, I just hung out with my dad and listened to their stories and how they went through life. It was really good. And
how do you reckon your relationship with your dad has changed?
Well, it was great to get to know him more and be with him. So we've got more things to chat about and stuff. So it's got better. Yeah,
and I would imagine that. I don't know if camp is the right word, but going away like this, do you naturally attract a number of fathers and sons that are going through a really rough patch?
Our whole aim with Pathways has always been that we want every boy in Australia to have an opportunity to do this sort of program. We'd actually like to get them before they go through the rough patch. We aim to get boys around 13, 14 years of age, just when they're starting to change, and while dad's still a sort of a cool dude in their eyes, and to give them the opportunity to have that time together talking, so that the rough patch that you talk about can actually be a time when the father can be supporting his son rather than a time when they grow apart.
What sort of things can people look forward to in the program? What do you actually do?
We base our program on a Rite of Passage program that was run by Indigenous societies and communities all over the world. In fact, they all did it. And what we've found is that they all had common elements. So they all had story, challenge and honouring. So the boys get an opportunity to hear their father's stories. Every day we sit in a circle, man, boy, we have a fire in the middle, and the men talk about key times in their lives. They talk about how it was when they were young growing up, their relationships with their fathers, their experience with grief and loss, how it was when they started, dating women or relationships, things like that, which is extremely powerful. The boys get to do various challenges, and a very important part of our program is the boys get publicly honoured by their fathers and other men for their gifts and their talents, because we believe that every boy has innate gifts and talents, and the most important thing is that we recognise those and that we tell the boy that we see them and that we want those to come out of him.
It must be frightening though when perhaps in your situation, we said earlier that most men spend 8 minutes a day individually with each child. That's not a lot. It must be frightening to a certain extent, to suddenly be thrust into this environment whereby you're spending the whole time with your son.
In the beginning, yes, it was, but after a couple of days and settling into it, and it was a fantastic experience. We talked a lot and really, got to understand each other a lot better than we did before. I don't think Sachi really knew who I was before this program, and now I think he's got a little bit more insight into who I am, and certainly I have into him. Yeah.
What sort of questions did you ask your dad?
All kinds of things. I didn't really ask him many questions. It was more like a group thing, and we told everybody all this stuff. Yeah.
Does that make it safer somehow too, if you're revealing those inner secrets about yourself? Is it safer in a group situation like that? Or?
Well, I think in a group situation, when people say, when people talk about a part of their life, often it sparks something in you that you recognise and can bring to the group as well.
I'm just wondering what the greatest thing is that you can give to your son as a father. Is it self-esteem? Is it
time?
Well, I think it's a number of things. With this, research certainly shows that self-esteem is the most important thing for a young man, and that is what is the biggest indicator of how he's going to cope and how he's going to go later. And a huge part of that actually comes from having a good relationship with his father, hearing his father's story, knowing that he's been seen by his father and that he's actually okay for who he is rather than who his father wants him to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's a really good point.
What about when there's a boys' fest out in the bush? Does the subject of the mother and the son and the mother relationship as spoken about with the father come into
Absolutely.
play?
I mean, we think it is so important, the relationship that the boys have with their mothers, and it is spoken about, and what we're actually looking for is that the relationship with the boy and his mother is going to grow into one of respect, very much coming from the boy towards his mother, and in fact towards all women. We believe that one of the things that is done worst in our society is the whole thing around boys respecting women. So it's very much talked about, and it's talked about with a lot of respect and reverence, and the boys get to hear the stories of the men and how it's been for them. And we look at a shift from boy psychology to man psychology, and one of the aspects of boy psychology is around wanting a mother, and hopefully man psychology is in fact looking for healthy relationship with the feminine.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's a shift we look for.
And we're looking at some really interesting points here. Can you tell us about these?
Yeah, well, we would say that the reason why the Rites of Passage were held is partly to change from boy psychology, which is all about seeking acknowledgement, powers for me, I'm the centre of the universe, not taking responsibility for actions, and wanting a mother. And where we want men in our community who in fact living from healthy man psychology, which is doing something you believe in and having a mission and powers for sharing, understanding you're part of the universe, taking responsibility for your actions, and wanting a relationship with the feminine. And actually, if we ask women if they know any men who still function on boy psychology, wanting power and thinking they're the centre of the universe and looking for a mother, you sort of understand why it's most commonly the women who send the men and the boys on our programs,
exactly.
and who in fact are our major supporters.
But also you do have a program for mothers and daughters too, don't you?
That's correct. We've just started a similar mother and daughter program, and our hope is that, like the father and son program, it will become available also for every girl around Australia.
Just before we go, Rick and Sachi, now that you've done the foundation camp, how does your relationship progress now? Have you changed the rules in a way? Do you see more of each other? What happened?
Well, it's only a week since we've done it, so we're still kind of assimilating.
Reeling,
but certainly it's changed our understanding of each other, and I think it will certainly make it a lot easier for us to relate in a meaningful way.
Yeah. And when you got home to your mum, what did your mum say?
Oh, well, she tried to get out of me what we did, but I didn't tell her.
Secret men's business.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, look, lovely to meet you all. Thank you for your time this morning.
Yeah, thank you so much. And of course, if you'd like any details, you can jump onto the Pathways website. There's the address there.
They're backing it in and going acoustic. Thirsty Merc will perform later, but after the break, Anthony's version of Jewish penicillin.